people, and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Chloe Brennan. I am a strong woman from the UK, and I made this channel to kind of put British strength sports out there and hopefully to try and encourage women into strong women. Or strength sports, whatever. I just want to get more ladies lifting. So as part of that, I decided to do a Q&A. Partly so you guys who don't know me can get to know me, but also if people had questions about lifting or how to get into it or whatever, they could ask and I could give a quick answer in video format like I am right now. So I've got a list of questions, I'm going to go through them, lots of different types. I hope you enjoy. If you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to my channel and you will get updates on when I've uploaded video. Little side note, I decided to get some lighting to try and improve the quality of my videos, and I now look like Casper the Ghost. And also, every time I do one of these I plan to do my hair nice and it just never happens. So as we go through, please excuse the baby hair. So I got a few silly questions and I guess they're good ones to get warmed up on. So someone asked, what is my view on 5G? I don't even know what 5G is, to be honest. Something to do with phones. People think it's to do with coronavirus. I'm in the NHS and got an email that confirmed 5G has no link with coronavirus whatsoever, so do not be worried. One pillow or two? It varies really. I tend to have one under the head and one either between the legs or to cuddle. I don't know why. Obviously I sleep in a bed with Matt, but I don't like to cuddle him. I like my space, and a pillow just gives me that little bit of, ooh, cosy. I have had a few questions with regards to my nutrition. Presently, at the moment, however you want to say it, I work with the Tiny Titan, or Vicky Masita, whatever you want to call her. She's very tiny and very lovely. So she's doing my nutrition for me basically at the moment. I started with her before I went to the Arnold and have carried on with her now and wouldn't change it. She's great. She teaches me why she's doing what she's doing and she listens to my feedback as well. So bearing that in mind, I have been asked, what do your macros look like? I couldn't tell you off the top of my head right now because they vary and they change week to week depending on my feedback. At the moment, because I am effectively in off season, kind of because of lockdown, should have competed in England's Strongest Woman earlier this week, so doing a bit of a sad that didn't happen, but hey ho, onwards and upwards. Macros, I carb cycle, so I have higher carbs on my training days and higher fats on my rest days, and vice versa. That seems to work really well for me. My protein always remains the same throughout. For standard recovery, I am on 160 grams of protein at the moment, and then obviously, like I've just said, carbs and fats vary. I think from working with Vicky, I've learnt it's not just the carbs and whatever that you're eating through the day that matter, it's how you eat around your training, and that's something I've learnt a lot about. So before a training session, I will have at least 70 grams of carbs, post-training 80 grams of carbs. I don't know if that's helpful, but that's really working for me at the moment, and I'm really glad that I'm learning more about that and knowing how to fuel my body. My training sessions feel better and I'm recovering well, so winning. Right, okay. I have done little symbols so I can code these and read which ones are similar. So another one with regards to nutrition kinda was, do you train to stay within your weight class as an Olympic lifter might, or are you aiming for as much mass and strength as possible? So when I got this question, it was on a message and I kind of replied both is the short answer and said I would do the long answer here. So I do try to stay in my weight class. It's not something that I've always done. I have in the past, in my off season, put on quite a bit of weight and then dropped it again, but at the moment I am training to stay near my weight class, so I'm sitting about 64 kilos. They're all thereabouts. My weight classes in this country is under 63 kilos and internationally under 64, so I am training to stay in my weight class. However, I am also trying to build as much muscle and strength as possible. I'm doing that through body composition changes, so building muscle doesn't necessarily mean gaining weight, if that makes sense. So at the moment we are doing a body recomp, so I am trying to gain muscle, but I'm also trying to stay within my weight class. That doesn't mean to say that I will stay in this weight class forever, but for now it suits me really well. So yeah, that is that one. Next one. Who is the strongest human person you have met? I find this really difficult because are you looking at like all-round strength? Are you looking at who can actually shift the most weight? Are you looking at pound for pound, who's the strongest? Because I know a lot of people that are real strong pound for pound. A lot of lightweight women. I've met Eddie Hall. Obviously he won World's Strongest Man, so it's pretty strong. Rhiannon Lovelace is someone who I always talk about when I'm talking about pound for pound strength and just strength in general. She is a British strong woman. You may have heard of her. If you haven't, go check her out. She recently pulled 600 pound at 64 kilo body weight, so you know, pretty strong. And I'm really glad to know her, not just to have met her, but to consider her a friend. Who else have I met that's real strong? Like all the people I compete with are strong. Otherwise they wouldn't be competing in strongest woman competitions. But yeah. It's made me think. Met Bill Kazmaier, obviously he was pretty strong back in his day. Still pretty jacked now, to be fair. But yeah, I think Ed and Rhi. But then you've got people like Andrea Thompson and Donna Moore, who are incredibly strong women. So yeah, I think I'm going to leave it as a collective and not say any more on that one. Next little section. I've had a lot around competing, mindset, head game, that kind of thing. So one of them wasn't a question as such, but they just asked me to talk about competition and PR mindsets. In England we call them PB, personal best. Anyway, that's beside the point. So for me, what do I do when I am going for a PR, PB, or competition? They're slightly different. If I'm going for a big weight in the gym, I tend to stamp around like a little angry child. I try and do an angry scream. You know, like you see on World's Strongest Man, they're like, ah! But mine just comes out like, ah! So I do that a bit, I get a bit stampy, and then I just completely focus in on what I'm doing. Some people talk about going to a dark place. That dark place don't seem to exist in my mind. So yeah, I just purely, I don't even think about the lift, to be honest. It's just a sheer like, whew, this is what I'm doing. And I just go into that zone, and I go, and I pick it up, or I don't pick it up. But I always plan to pick it up. So that's for PBs. Competition wise, before each event I will try and get myself hyped up, so I will do exactly what I've just said for PBs, and that I will start pacing around a lot. I think people probably think I'm a right weirdo when I'm competing. At the Arnold I was like out the back, like walking up, down, like I was having a nervous breakdown, but I wasn't. I was just trying to focus in. And I tell myself that I'm gonna do well. It's like on the moving events at the Arnold, I was like, you're good at this. You're really good at this. Go do it. So a bit of self-affirmation will never go amiss. But the important thing in competition, yes, you need to get hyped up, but you cannot stay at that level of hype for the whole comp. Like, it's really, really important that you let yourself come down between events. So yeah, hype yourself up all you need, but as soon as that event is over, breathe, let yourself relax, make yourself come down. Because if you are running on adrenaline for like 4, 5, 6 hours, by the time you're on your last event, you are gonna be burnt. So yeah, that's my advice with regards to hyping up for competitions and PBs. Next one, best way to increase strength. This also tied in nicely with how much of a surplus in order to build strength. So I'm going to talk about them both in the same bit. So for me, I don't always have to be in a surplus to build strength. That's just my personal experience. I ain't no scientist, I ain't no coach. But when I was less small, before I competed as a lightweight and I was dropping weight, my strength went through the roof. So I was obviously in a calorie deficit to be losing that weight, and I still was managing to get PBs like really often and build strength. Is that because I was a newbie? Maybe. So yeah, I think yes, you need to be in a surplus to build size, but no, you don't necessarily have to be in a big surplus to build strength. I would say your training is going to build your strength more. Obviously you need to be eating the right things, you need to be fueling your body in order to build that strength. I hope I'm making sense here. But how to build strength, again, I'm not a coach. For me, what seems to have worked is lots of volume, and volume at high percentages as well. So when I've been going for my really big weights, my coach Jenny has been having me do like max reps at 95% or 97%, and that seems to really kind of, when I'm at the top of a peak, that seems to really push me, and then I end up doing reps at like 102%, so obviously my strength has built, so that's really cool. If you want to know more about building strength, I would suggest asking people who know more about it and who do programming. So I've mentioned them in previous videos, so Jenny Todd, Dan Hipkiss, Shane Germain, all of these people, they have a wealth of knowledge, so use it, holler at them. Next one. How old is too old to get into strength sports? I would say you're never too old or too young to get into strength sports. I think it's a sport that can be enjoyed by everybody. It's very inclusive. People often say that people are too young to start strength sports, but I also think that's rubbish as long as it's done safely, and as long as you weren't pushing your kid to do like 100 kilo deadlift and you're letting them, you know, take it slow and just get used to the movements, I don't see a problem. In fact, there are a couple of young girls that I know of at the moment that have kind of watched the stuff that me and my competitors are doing and want to do that, and I think that's super cool, and I would hate to stop that and say, well, you can't do that because you're too young. So it's just about making it accessible. But anyway, back to the question. How old is too old? I don't think you're ever too old. I mean, the masters scene is thriving. I know I don't know how old the person was that asked this question, but I know people that are like in their 50s doing this sport and they're killing it. I mean, look at Mount Felix. So yeah, you're never too old. Keep going. I mean, there's my coach's gym, Jenny's gym, I think he's called Arthur. I'm pretty sure he's in his 80s and he's still deadlifting, so no excuses. Even if you're getting old, get a barbell in your hands and start lifting, my friend. How to pack the right kit for competitions. You know, this is something that we all think about, and every time I'm competing I freak out. So, you know, when I knew I had to fly to America and I had to pack my bag before I went, I was like, oh my god. But really, what do you have in your gym bag when you're training? Go through like what you use when you're training, the events that you are going to compete, what do you use for each event? Get that out your kit bag, put it to one side. That is what you need. You don't need to take straps that you've never used before. You don't need to take an extra belt that you've never used. If you ain't got stones, you don't need to take tacky. Like, don't pack useless stuff. Take what you need, leave what you don't need. If the stuff, like kit that you've got that you haven't used yet, leave it at home. You don't want to be changing stuff on comp day. So in your kit bag, you literally just want to be packing whatever you use. So set of ollie shoes, flat shoes if you've got a deadlift, knee sleeves, elbow sleeves, belt, wrist wraps, straps for a deadlift. It's like your core, isn't it? And then if you've got a vehicle pull, you might want some rock climbing shoes to help with your grip. If you've got stones, obviously you need your tacky. That's pretty much it. Take lots of water. Don't just think about your kit, think about your day in general. So you need lots of water, stay hydrated. Food, make sure you've got food that you can eat and digest easily. And yeah, you're good to go. Don't overthink it, don't worry. And like the person who asked this question said, it's strong woman. So if you've really forgotten something, there's probably someone that's going to lend you some kit. Next one, some ones that are a bit more focused towards me. Actually no, before we go on to that, rewind. Someone asked, why won't more women get muscles and change the stigma? I think we're heading that way. I mean, look at the amount of fitness influencers on Instagram and YouTube. Yeah, they might just be doing booty bands, but you know what? Getting a bigger booty is getting bigger muscles. And being strong doesn't always necessarily mean gaining a lot of muscle. But if you do, it's cool, you know, I'm trying. I've got no biceps. But I think that's a good question, and I think there are a lot of reasons why. I think that muscle and weightlifting are often associated with masculinity. I mean, recently I spoke on my Instagram stories about the fact that two older men that I'd met, one while I was working on a ward, and one my lovely next door neighbour, had said, you know, how can you enjoy that? Oh, you need to stop that, don't do that for too long because you'll start to look like a man, and you look lovely, you're a lovely looking girl. I was like, yeah, I'm still a girl, but I just want to be strong. And some people just can't get that into their heads, and I think that perception is rubbed off onto females a lot, unfortunately, and they think that if they get strong and muscular they will not please the male sex. I think another part of it is the thought of building muscle is very different if they haven't done it before. The environment can seem intimidating from the outside. I think there's a lot of reasons as to why females don't get into strength sports. I mean, I was that person before I started all of this. I didn't want to go to the gym because I didn't want to get too broad. And here I am, and this is all part of why I'm doing this channel and making these videos, so hopefully people that are thinking they would like to, or people that have never even thought of it but just stumble across it, think, oh, actually that is cool and I could do that. And I mean, there's nothing cooler, is there, than finding out the limits of your body. I always say now, it's not what my body looks like, but it's what it can do, and if I can get that message out to as many women as possible, job done. Somebody asked, when everything is back to normal, what is your goal in Strong Woman? I've got lots of goals in Strong Woman at the moment. A big one is to compete at Worlds. It was supposed to be in November. I think it's still planned for November, but obviously with the corona apocalypse, we do not know what is going on. So that's my ultimate goal, really, to compete in Worlds. I would like to come top 10, and I would absolutely love to come top 5, but I try not to set my expectations too rigidly, because I think if we set our expectations too high and we don't achieve them, that can be really disappointing, and if we set our expectations too low, we might stop there and not achieve our full potential. So my goal is to just be the best that I can be, continue to compete internationally, because I really enjoyed my first experience. And yeah, do cool stuff, be strong. That's my goal in Strong Woman at the moment. And then I qualified to go to the Arnold next year as well, so hopefully I can go there and enjoy it just as much, and I don't know, maybe beat my place in. That would be incredible. So that's my goals at the moment. Next question, what was the hardest part of dinny training? I want to put this out there because, you know, on videos and stuff I've had a lot of stick of people saying that's not a full lift, you don't really lift the dinny stones. Disclaimer, when I did it I was not happy with my lift. Yeah, I got the wind beneath the stones, which is what counts as a lift, without the straps, but I wanted to do better, and I am going to do better. I've already planned to do my next lift, so putting that out there, I'm coming for them. I really enjoy training for them, actually. The hardest part is probably how much it hurts. So for the dinny stones, it's a hook grip. Hang on 1 minute, I'll get the ring and I'll show you what we do, because I've got the replicas right here with me. Voila, I have the ring. So this is the replica for the smaller dinny ring. So when you are lifting without straps, which is what I was doing through my training, we do hook grip. So basically you put your thumb in like this and fold your fingers over the top, and then you pull like that. So your thumb's locked in. And one of the hardest parts of dinny training was the pain that brought. So if you imagine, like, I was doing like well over 150 most training sessions on the front arm, 150 kilos like pulling down on your thumb. It's pretty painful, and like my nail bed started to be a bit of a weird funny shape, so that was hard. And also it's an awkward position because I was doing the straddle lift, so you're like this. It pulls a lot on, like, I got pain in my collarbone quite a lot. Being such a small person and lifting, like, I don't even know what it was when I was training. I think a fairly standard towards the end was like 170 on the front hand and 130 something on the back hand. So that kind of weight pulling down, kilos that is, pulling down on your collarbone and in your scapular area as well. That was quite painful. So yeah, I'd say the hardest part of dinny training was the pain. It's a painful event, but it's real good fun, and like when you hit those massive weights, it's really, really exhilarating. So anyone thinking about it, go for it. I might put a video up at some point with Matt, who lifts the dinnies. He lifted them with me on his shoulders, which is really cool. So yeah, I might rope him in to get some tips and pointers for anyone that's interested in doing it. That's the dinny question. What keeps you motivated? What keeps me motivated is just knowing that I can always be better and that I'm not at my best yet, getting stronger, knowing there's always ways to improve. On days when I really don't want to do it, I don't know, sometimes I just won't push too hard. Like I'm not the kind of person that can say, if you're not feeling it, don't bother, because that's not me. If I'm not feeling it, I'll drag myself there and I'll do it. Sometimes it'll be a really good session, other times it won't. That's just the way it is. I guess the thing that keeps me motivated, yeah, is just knowing that I've got goals, and that if I don't train and I don't eat and I don't do my recovery, then I'm not going to hit them. So yeah, simple as that really for me. What was it like prepping for and competing in your first international comp? It was a roller coaster. That is how I will explain it. So training for it was fun, really fun. Dropping weight for it initially was a bit of a challenge, but then like I say, I got Vicky on board and that was sorted, so that wasn't something I really had to worry about a huge amount. Training was really fun, but to be fair, like I expected the Arnold to be heavier, so I was like, yeah, I'm gonna get really strong, but it wasn't that heavy. It was a lot of rep events and speed events, so I just got pretty fit really in the lead up to it. It was fun, it was different, like I love having something to aim for, so having something of that magnitude to aim for was amazing. A couple of weeks out, I unfortunately got injured and my back, I couldn't walk. I had to have the day working from home because I couldn't leave the house. So that was pretty scary, and I thought that it was over, but with help from my sports therapist Jake, we got through it, and in fact I think it was a blessing in disguise because it lowered my expectations. I was no longer going there to kind of try and make finals, I was going just to enjoy it and have fun, and that's exactly what I did, and as a result of that I came fourth, made finals. And competing there was just unreal, like to meet strong women outside of the UK was awesome, because I've always thought of them as a different calibre. So meeting them, having chats, it was just an awesome experience. Seeing the pro men competing right next to us was awesome. It was just great. If you ever get the opportunity to compete internationally, just go for it. I never thought I'd get the chance to, and now that I have, that's all I want to do. So yeah, do it. And last one I'm going to answer today. Advice for people who love the sport but get into their head, comparing progress and abilities to others and not feeling capable. I think most strong women have experienced this, to be fair. I definitely have. So in my first year of Strong Women, I did really well. I podiumed at England's Strongest Woman, made it to Britain's Strongest Woman, and then the following year I just put so much pressure on myself. I was looking at other girls all the time, thinking, they're doing that, I can't do that. If I don't place in this place, then people are going to think I'm rubbish and that it was like a fluke and I'm not really that strong. And I think that's something that a lot of us have. And yeah, and I was comparing myself to girls that had done the sport for years, and I mean, that's just not a thing to do. It doesn't, like, when you're outside of it, it doesn't make sense to do that. Why would I be as good as someone that's been doing it for 3 years? Like, that's not how it works. My advice on that is to just focus on yourself. I know it's easier said than done, but by comparing yourself to others, you're putting external pressure, well, it's internal pressure because it's coming from you. You're putting more pressure on yourself that you don't need. Ultimately, why did you start this sport? Did you start this sport because you wanted to beat Sue from Manchester? No, you didn't even know who she was. You started this because you thought it looked interesting, you wanted to get stronger, you wanted to get fitter, you did it to help with your mental health. There are so many different reasons why people start, and that is the reason why you should carry on, and every time you start comparing yourself to other people, think of that reason. This is why you're doing it. Ignore what they're doing. If you need to, take a detox off social media. I did that in the lead up to the qualifiers last year because I was just losing my mind, thinking, oh my god, I'm not as good as these people. Get rid of those people, and then, you know, they don't matter. And ultimately, if you're looking at people's videos before a competition, like, you watching those videos isn't going to change their performance on the day or your performance on the day. It's just going to make you more anxious. So just forget about that. Focus on yourself, focus on your own numbers. If you're getting PBs, then you're winning, aren't you? And if you're not, but you're still improving, you're winning. If you're turning up to the gym every day, you're winning. So yeah. And I think that's something that comes with experience as well. I think it's very easy at the start to compare yourself to other people, and I think it's something that's perfectly natural to do, so don't beat yourself up about it, but try not to do it, because it'll be your worst enemy. And when you start comparing yourself and feeling like you're inadequate, blah blah blah, you lose the love for it, and you don't want to be like busting a gut for something that you end up not loving, do you? So yeah, focus on you, because you're the only one that matters in all of this. That's it. We have reached the end of the questions for today. I quite enjoyed doing that. Let me know what you think. Don't forget to like, subscribe and share. And I'll see you very, very soon. Bye.